Hello and welcome to the fifth of my tutorials. Today we're going to talk about nature and some general tips in the Planet Coaster console version. If you haven't seen the first 4 episodes, I highly recommend watching them first because that's gonna tell you the basics about the game. So we had a landscaping tutorial which shows you how to make like mountainsides like that. We also had a tutorial in pathing, making sure that you can do all of that stuff over here like plazas and so on. We also had a coaster tutorial as the second episode, and in the last episode we talked about building. Now today we're going to talk about landscaping and nature first, like not landscaping in terms of terrain, but actually how you use the foliage in the game to your advantage. Now if we go a little bit over here, first of all, it's my testing area, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the general steerings and stuff, you know. We're going to open first of all the create menu again, and what you want to do here is just press B once and then you go to the right hand side to nature. Now you can see this is what nature has to offer for you, and we're going to check all first of all, and then we just go a little bit through the menu, and you can see there's a variance of trees and stuff. There are some boulders, there are some ice boulders, there's a lot of different stuff you can leverage, you know. But for those of you who know other games, certain games like Planet Zoo, for example, or other kind of park management games, or even City Skylines, you are used to having a very great choice of plans and stuff. This is not really the case in Planet Coaster. However, there is a lot you can do. So first of all, before we do this, let me just quickly show you in scenery. You have a lot of stuff already for you pre-prepared for the game. So if you're lazy and you don't want to do more stuff than, you know, is necessary, you can grab these blueprints over here. Just go into the scenery and blueprint tab, and then you can see there are loads and loads of prefab things for you. So for example, over here you can see there's a little bush asset, and you can always use that, you know, use it to your advantage. Put it down to the ground, hold down the square button, and then you can basically, you know, pull it up or pull it down, and then you can even sink it down into the ground. Pretty simple stuff, you know, you can use it that way, but I would recommend to do it a little bit differently. So let's get started. Alright, we are here next to the pathway that I've built, and let me just quickly pause the game first of all. I don't know, for building I always like to pause the game a little bit. And we have one issue over here. We do have a little bit of a glimpse inside of the backside of this building, which is not filled, and you know, you don't want to have these people coming over here see the backside of our house. Now, what you can do is you can use a lot of foliage to help you kind of hide these things away. And this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about nature, how to leverage the best out of it without destroying your performance too much, because that's something you have to look into in the console version even more than in the other versions. So what is pretty handy in this game is to bunch stuff together to basically create layers. So what we're going to do, we just go into the create tab over here. We are already in this menu, but what we want to do, we press B once and we start with the trees in the background. So what you want to do, go for a very lush tree. I'm going to start with the ash tree over here because I want to use that one. So what I'm going to do with the ash tree is I'm going to swipe this thing down so it is a little bit into the ground, so it almost looks like a very raised and high bush, you know. The reason why I'm doing this is basically to create a layer in the background. I'm just going to pull a little bit to the side as well, so we have got two things, and you can see there's already quite a little bit of a block going on. So what I do next, I'm going to go to another tree that is a bit less lush. I'm going to use this wonderful beech tree over here because I like the beech trees quite a lot for their branches and stuff, so they look kind of cool. And I'm going to rotate this so we have a little bit more of a beech tree in the front, which is also blocking a bit more of the backside. Great, that's what we do over here. And then one thing I want to do is I want to have like another tree in the background to just make sure that there is a lot more blocked. And I'm going to use this cypress tree over here so that, you know, I'm mixing now a little bit of the styles, but since we don't have that much stuff in the game anyways, we're going to need we're going to use what we have offered to us. So that's basically what we do. So I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to lower this down a little bit more to the other side, right? So this is what I have in the background. Okay, cool. Now, I'm not kind of happy with this how it is right now because I'm missing a little bit in the front. There's not really everything I want. So first things first, I'm also going to take my poplar tree over here because that one is also pretty tall. And what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to layer this one behind the other one. So we have like a third layer, and I'm going to do a second one as well, putting that one here, and yeah, just move it a little bit down. rotate it once. It's also important to just rotate trees and stuff always, because then it doesn't look too repetitive. So that's kind of neat. So we have this, okay? And now we go out of the tree section and we go down into the bushes, because now as we have layered this a little bit more, I want to go a little bit lower in the different layers, and I'm going to use this one over here. This bush is all the way over. It's kind of cool because it has these different kind of patterns, and it looks almost like a little bit dried out. So what I like to do is just put that a few times in the ground here, just so that you create a bit of a layer in front. And you can even, you know, experiment a little bit with how deep you move it in. I'm going to move it a little bit deeper. There you go. And now I want to fill this in with some other stuff. And I'm going to use for it, I'm going to use this scavola here, because this one is really handy. You can use this quite a lot to create some almost grass looking ground. And I'm going to use this so it almost just sticks a little bit out. I'm going to zoom in. You can see it's not really that much higher. It's just like halfway through. We can just go take it a little bit back. There you go. This should be enough. And then what I'm doing is I'm basically moving that around just to you know, just create a little bit of a ground pattern here. So there you go. Just putting all these things down. There you go. And maybe one more here and rotate this. Well, that was not good. Let's undo this. Okay, cool. And this is it. Awesome. So I've created this. Looks already kind of cool. What I'm missing over here is a rock. You can always use rocks and stuff to, you know, spice things up a little bit. I want to go here with the deciduous one. I think this fits quite well into our park over here. And I'm going to put this down right in here, you know, press once, and then I'm going to copy it. And you can always copy it and sink it down into the ground. It almost looks like a different stone then, so you don't need to swap all these stones all of a sudden. That just takes a little bit of a time. And then I'm going to use another one here. Let's just use that one. I think that's nice too. I'm going to move this into the ground, and I'm going to put this here. Awesome. So look at that. We have created this little batch over here of nature. So you could now go on and just do the nature the whole time as I did, which would be incredibly time consuming. What I would recommend to do is basically what you do, go to multi-select, and then we're just basically going to select all of that stuff over here, right? So that's nice. And then just correct the things you didn't like, because I, for example, have this this fence selected, and these rocks over here I don't want to have as well. So let's just unselect these if I can. They don't really, it doesn't really work here. Let me just see if I can. Let me just unselect this one, please. Yeah, there you go. And I unfortunately deselected one of the trees over there, I guess. Let's go back to plus and see that we can just plus everything we need here. Oh my god, I just... okay, it's a little bit of a finicky thing. I should have done this somewhere else, just as a little recommendation, guys. Always do it in a spare place. I was a little bit too close to what I've already built. Anyhow, what we will do, regroup this as a scenery group. And now, as you can see, it's pretty much easier for me to grab this one. And what we do over here, we just duplicate this thing, okay? And then what you can do is basically use this as a blueprint. And I'm going to use exactly this. And I'm going to use this here, and I'm moving this back down into the ground. Hold down the square button or the X button on your Xbox, and then you just move it down. And you can also alter the heights a little bit, you know. I'm just going to put this down. There you go. And I'm doing the exact same stuff again. I'm going to here, hold this, and you can also move this from, if you want to do it that way, then you just keep it exactly on the right position. That is also pretty handy. Yes, we want to move that a little bit further up. There you go. Let's just rotate this a little. There you go. Right. Okay, so now what you want to do now, you can actually see already that this looks a little bit too repetitive, right? So what you do, you basically go into this building, you know, just select the building and then say edit the scenery group and just delete this tree, you know, you just delete it, okay? So what you can do then in the building is just select some pieces over here, you know, just as I'm doing, holding down the key. I've got 18 things. That might be a little bit too much. I'm gonna decrease the brush size a little bit. Just going to use these pieces. Awesome. And I'm going to duplicate these pieces. You can see there's a little bit more of bush and stuff going on. I'm gonna rotate this a little and move it all the way down just to fill in that gap over here. See? That's nice. I'm gonna do it that way. And then obviously what I don't like is this stone over here, and I want to get rid of this bush too. Right. Okay, so this is kind of neat. And now you can just basically start to exchange a few things. I would love to have like a little bit more of a tree in here, I guess, but I'm not doing it that way. What I do now is I have got copied this 2 times, and I've got a very nice nature pattern over here, okay? So what you can do now, and this is pretty simple, you just go down to the multi-select tool, and I want to recommend to go to add to selection, and then you select this one, and that one as well. And now you can merge them together as one group, which I want to do. So this is now one single group. And now you can obviously copy this group again and just use the same group all over again. You know, you can just use it here. And then what I do is basically I swap it down, or like push it down into the ground again, into a position I like. And now you can see this looks incredibly repetitive. We don't want that. So what we do over here, we go into editing this thing, and then we just delete a few things. Just go in and delete a few things, okay? So this is what we've created. I don't like these rocks over here as well. Just delete some of those, just to make it look a bit different. Once you've done that, you edit the group again, and you go in and put another tree in, for example. Just go back into the trees and look what you like to have over here. I think it would be nice to just have another birch tree in, maybe. You know, just put a birch tree. Is it floating? No, that fit just quite nice. And I think because we are in an environment where it would fit, I'm gonna go and put like a freaking big oak tree in the back, because they are quite nice and quite bushy. So we're going to put this one right in the back here. Right, okay. So don't forget to always have a look if it all blocks nicely, and it really does block nicely. Cool, so you've done that, and yeah, what I would do now, actually it's pretty simple. Leave that building, and I'm gonna, you can guess it, duplicate that again. Now you have a third one, and you can basically create whatever you want with it. In this term, I want to rotate it a little bit more to finish this area off a little bit, and then hold down the square button to put it into the ground until you have a height that you're happy with. There you go, come on, just go there. Maybe a little bit deeper as well. Tad bit deeper, it should be fine. Come on, do it. Do it. Nah, come on. I zoom in a little bit and making things easier. There you go. And now you can position that wherever you want. So here we go. Lovely. That looks nice. This area looks a bit off over here. So what you can always do, obviously, when you just don't like an area, just go in, search for one item that you want to put down. So for example, I'm going to use this Penderosa thing now over here. I'm going to move it into the ground to just have it sticking down like this. And I want to have another one just in this area. Lovely. Cool. So this is pretty much what we've done, and it looks already pretty neat. However, there's one thing you need to always do with nature. I learned this trick from Mike Sheets. He's like the god in terms of making nature and stuff look good. But what you always want to go and use is terrain. Never leave it as it is. Always go in, and what you do, go to the push tool or the pull tool, it doesn't matter. Lower the intensity down as much as you can, and let me just do this quickly like so. That's a lot quicker. And then do also the intensity, so all the way down, that you just have a very, very small brush, something like that, you know. And then you want to go in and in certain areas just raise the terrain a little bit, okay? So you can also do that in the background. So just because none of the actual in real life existing plants and stuff are totally perfectly flat. There's always a little bit of, you know, a difference in height, and especially around trees or so where the roots are, you basically would even try to go down a little bit, you know, because then nature has just like sucked up a little bit of the ground. And you know, you can always do this in here like I do right now. Just search yourself some areas, and this is also the reason why we use these pieces and push them down into the ground, because this way you are creating these little molds over here. And once you've done that, you can just go into the painting, and then I would always recommend to use some stuff that you want to use. So over here, this is all, I think it's all dry grass, right? No, it's not dry grass. It was actually the original grass over here. So what you can do then, go also to some mud, and then you can, you know, you can also increase the intensity a little bit if you want. I would always go with the smallest available size, or like a very small size at least, and then search yourself some areas where you want to put some mud. For example, I want to do this below the trees especially, because that's where not so much sun would come, and just paint that a little bit, you know, having some mud over here. And as always, as I showed you in the first tutorial, in case you haven't seen that, try to blend that with some stuff, and I'm going to use to blend this with some darker mud over here, you know, just making it not all look the exact same. So there you go, just having a little bit of a difference in all the textures, just making it nice and tidy and stuff. So there you go. this is already what you wanted to do. Look at this. I mean, this looks already kind of cool. You have like a lot of nature going on next to the path. My English is broken. And so from over here, you can basically copy things. But what you would love to do now is to make this thing in the back appear a bit more dense. And what you can do over here, we kind of recreated from very low growing stuff up to the trees, to the oak tree. And what you do now, just to finish that off, you go back into create and then go search yourself for some bigger oak trees. There are even some bigger ones, and you want to put them all the way here in the back. Let's just not raise them too much, but they can actually be a little bit higher. Why not? Zoom in a little bit so that the roots are just on the ground. Nope, you can just go up a little bit. Sorry, what's happening? What is happening? There you go. Okay, so this is nice. And now you just push that thing to the back. Just put some down. You don't even need to go that close here. Just make sure to rotate them every now and then. Awesome. And then just mix in some other trees. I would also recommend to go for this one, for example. This is also kind of nice tree in this game. I think you want to go for the second one. I think size-wise this is neat. Yeah, and just put that in the middle, you know, just to create some different depth. And then there you go. This is it. It almost looks like you have like a dense forest behind, but what we created is not that efficient. It is efficient, but it's not like destroying too many pieces. It's not that many pieces overall. We just increased our overall park by 1%, but it looks like something really dense. And you can see from the backside, it's actually faked a lot, but when you look from the front, it looks super dense and super nice. And just imagine you pull this you know, fence all the way through here, and then it looks really cool. You know, that looks stellar. If you just take that little area over here with the fence, that looks already pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of how this looks. We can also, you know what we do? We just take like a guest over here. Let's just go, and then we select the camera to just have a look how the guests see this. Let's hide these panels. Look at that. This looks kind of cool. That looks cool, doesn't it? I mean, this is what you can do in this game. It looks really decent. Is there anyone walking back, by the way? No, it's only that dude over here. Right, that's fine. Yeah, so this was already it about the nature. And now, as I promised, there will be some general hints now that I haven't mentioned in the last couple episodes. I really hope that you guys, first of all, that you enjoyed all the tutorials. Now, this is like the complete tutorial now from start to end. You should be capable of basically all the tools now. But there are a few little things you should really get used to while you're building. Like, one thing that I want to point out again, even though I said this a million times, get used to the radial menu. Get used to the fact that it always has a contextual one. So you can see, for example, if I go here on the coaster and I'm not pressing X or A, you know, respectively, which console you're using, just press triangle or the Y key and it opens the contextual menu. For example, over here, you can go directly into the right camera and boom, there we are seated already into the right camera. Same goes obviously for the other one, just over here. Hold down, whoops, I should have chosen that one. And here you can see, boom, go into right camera, boom, with seating in. How cool is that? You can also have that here with move the station and surface stuff, blah, blah, blah. You can do the same with like groups, for example. You don't even need to select them. You can just directly copy that from over here, as you can see. I don't even need to go in. It's very contextual. I love that. It's super cool. Also, same with the building. Whoops, I just not clicked on the building. This is the building now. You can from over here directly just like duplicate this building, for example. You can see now I'm just pulling out the whole building. It's super simple, and the same obviously always works for whenever you are in the editor. So for example, over here I'm now in the path editor, have the contextual menu, and you can just directly snap some things. Just really get used to the tool, guys. It's absolutely important because that makes you a lot more efficient in your building. So the second most important thing is definitely make sure you always remember the shortkeys with the square button or the X button on the Xbox key. You can see I'm holding that down, and you see now to the lower screen you have got the undo and redo. So for example, if I just go over here, you know, and then we just undo whatever we've done, you can see how we step back everything we've done over here. So it's you can also press down and just do all. This is, by the way, the nature takes a long while until the redo and undo has been processed. So you can also just undo and redo. I'm just clicking my live out now so that until we have everything built again. You can see now in a while, once this is done, you can see there the trees go, everything is done again. Then obviously increase or decrease the speed by pressing up. and obviously press play or pause in this side. And if you want to change the camera, you can also do so by L1. Now you can see I'm now in the free look camera, which makes me able to fly around my zoo, or my park like that. Sorry, I'm just very much into playing the zoo at the moment again. So yeah, you can do whatever you want with this camera. It's pretty neat, pretty cool, and you can easily change back to the other camera by holding down square and L1 or LB, and then you can also change the time by doing so on pressing there, and this menu keeps being open. Then you can basically check the time or decheck the time. Now I check the time, or you go over and then you can, you know, easily set the time of day just like that. And if you want to have like a nice screenshot in evening light, just like that, you can just basically, oh, this is morning light by the way, just easily do it like this. And if you want to have the ongoing continuous time model, you can just decheck here, and it always goes with the time from now on, which looks kind of cool with the lighting here. But yeah, no, I always want to have my 10-ish or like 12. Nah, 11 is fine, I guess. 11 should be fine. That's nice. And for like, you can also use the torch, which is kind of cool at night, because then you have like a light around the building, so you can also build at night. That's pretty handy as well. So these kind of things are very important to just remember, because this makes you a lot more efficient in your building. That's really cool. But yeah, guys, that has been it. Like, look at what we've achieved in all the tutorials. I really hope you guys enjoyed all my tutorials. In case you did, please leave a subscription. I'm gonna provide you guys with more tutorials in the future and more stuff that you would need for different games and stuff like that, also for Planet Coaster obviously. And now I really hope that you guys are enjoying your time, that you all stay safe obviously in these weird times, and yeah, just have a good time, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye everyone.